But now let's switch gears a bit and look at our measurement of basic mobility. And how are we doing in the value proposition for basic mobility? Now, here, and I want to be sure that I've kind of made this clear, when we think about building activity tolerance or building, reducing fall risk, and we're typically doing that by building capacity in the balance system performance, building strength, movement speed, all of that helps reduce risk. On those measures, the patients that we're expecting to really change the most are patients who we are expecting to be responsive to those remediation type interventions, that intensity pillar that I was referring to. And so for our patients, that's really that the highest functioning group, our green groups here, our highest functioning group, our low at admission but change a lot group, and to a certain extent, our non-ambulatory group. But then in other measures like basic mobility, here, when it comes to mobility and self-care, we can employ not only remediation strategies, but we can also use compensatory strategies. And so if you can't get from here to there by walking, let's try a wheelchair. And can you get from here to there using a wheelchair? And can you do that on its own? That's kind of a basic concept related to those compensatory strategies. So when we employ compensatory strategies, which we can do here with our basic mobility measure, we see a lot more consistency across these bottom four groups in our value metric. So given the amount of change that we're making relative to that cost that we are representing by hours of PT and OT, we're coming out pretty consistently in all of the groups except that red group. And this is the group that even when we employ our compensatory strategies for these patients, they still are not responding well to rehabilitation from any strategy. They're not responding well using that remediation pathway. They're not responding well using that compensatory pathway. Even when we dip down into the adaptation pathway, they may not be responding as well. And so what we're really thinking about here is that prevention piece with some adaptation, really around caregiver training, trying to think about what are the life roles for these individuals and how could we potentially maximize their participation through adaptation in life roles. And so you really see the difference in the value proposition across all of the groups, I think, in this particular slide. And as I mentioned, self-care looks very much the same.